All right, welcome to another edition of the Black Wealth Experience podcast, and more importantly, the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight. And I get to have Troy Williams on today, so he actually gets to do both. We'll put it up on both podcasts. But Troy, I am just so excited that you're here today. You know, one of the things that you and I have had conversations about is how do we get folks into housing? Wherever they are, what are they doing? There's this thing called rental and apartment living, and where people just give money away. You know, I talked to somebody yesterday, was like $3,500 every single month at the rental at the apartment over in Southeast Aurora. I'm like, that just seems insane. If you're paying, say you're paying just $2,000 a month, that's still $24,000 a year.
Right.
You know, if you stay there for 10 years, that's $240,000 you paid for that unit all the way done. And then it's just profit. You just think about how folks just don't know what they don't know. And what I can tell you is our goal, and I'll say this at the end, is one, you can do this, you can get into housing. Two, you deserve this. But more importantly, three is let us help you. There are so many experts that are out there that are doing. Troy happens to be an expert on the VA side and working with the heroes that have been there, and he's also he's been a real estate agent for many years. And so, Troy, what I'm going to have you do, because I just want to jump into this. I could talk for my own 5 minutes, but I really don't want to because I want to hear from you. Right. If you first could tell people how to get a hold of you, email, phone number, that kind of stuff, because I want them to be writing it down before we even get started. And then maybe kind of we'll go into your story, and then we'll just continue to talk after that. So
okay.
How do people get a hold of you?
So there are three ways. First is my email. That's my phone number. Email is realestategettroy@gmail.com. So realestategettroy@gmail.com. realestategettroy. Phone number 720-363-6363. Don't get it confused, but 720-363-6363. Or you can find me on my website, two of them, www.troywilliamsrealtor.com. troywilliamsrealtor.com. Or you can go to www.realtorhelpingheroes.com. Heroes is HEROES.com.
All right.
That's how you can find me.
I love it. So there's so much. I mean, we can look at you and kind of tell you haven't been doing this for 1 year or 2 years.
Is it the gray?
It's the gray, and just the way that your posture and the way that you command the room. But one of the things that I would love for people to do, because I was just did one with Janae, and one of the things that I said, and Janae has her own title company.
Yes.
And one of the things that I really want to get out is this. Yes, we would love to help you get into a home, but for some folks, they want to know, can I do this as a career, or can I do this as, I'm seeing some examples of folks that look like me, or folks that are out there who have done this. Do I have the capability of doing this? And so maybe you can kind of share your story a little bit, your career, what got you involved in this, and then we'll move into what you do here in a few minutes. So
sure. So I actually had an interest in real estate as far back as 1995 when I worked for the IRS in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
And, there was a young lady there. She was getting close to retirement, and she was talking to all of us young Black men about real estate. And I wanted it, but I didn't see a path forward. So I didn't pursue it. I moved here in 97, and the IRS paid for my relocation. And the relocation included help with closing costs, not down payment, but closing costs, things like that. So interestingly enough, when I closed, I used a VA lender. It was called Armed Forces Lending at the time. And I asked the loan officer and the owner of the company, I was like, how do you get into mortgages? And he literally said to me, your business cards will be in the mail when you get to your new home. I was like, what? He said, your business cards would be there. I had no training whatsoever. The only training I had from him was back when, and this was 2000, when you took a loan application and you just had them sign a blank form. Remember those days?
I do remember those days. I
Okay.
did a whole lot of loans in them days. Yes.
Yeah. And so I said, how am I going to get them to sign a blank document? He said, you signed it.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah, this is crazy stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want people listening to
You
think
can't do that anymore.
you
Just letting
can't
you know,
do
you
that
can't do that
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Grant, I didn't have, I had them signing blank
Of course.
1003s,
Yeah, of course.
but it was filled in with their information. There was no nefarious activity going
Yeah,
on.
no, of course not. That's just how the loan
But
industry works.
yeah, but that's how I got into it. Now, that was the mortgage side of it. And after a few closings, I'll be honest with everyone listening. When I saw what the real estate agent made as opposed to what I made as a LO, I said, I need to get my real estate license. And so, you'll hear people say, why did you get into real estate? And their go-to answer is, I love helping people.
Hmm.
And now, understand this. I love what I do and I love helping people, but that's not why people get into real estate.
Yep.
It's an income, it's an opportunity, it's a job.
Mhm.
Okay. And so it's not unlike any other profession. People get into their profession because they see it as an opportunity to make a viable income. And so I don't begrudge any realtor that says I got into real estate because I love helping people. But listen, when you drill down into the weeds, yeah, you got into it because you knew that you can make an income. And real estate has been real good to me. After 21 years, I love it. Now I'm at the stage in my life. Yes, I'm still doing it to support my family. But man, I truly love helping people. And after 21 years and all this, I can say that.
Yes, you can. You can say it. And what's amazing
I
is,
think I can.
oh, you absolutely, yeah. And I look at it the same way. I love people, and I love
Right.
making money. And if those two things can go together, then we're in a good shape. Because
Yeah.
if you don't like people, you don't want to be in real
Yeah.
estate. So, but if you do like people and you do get that gratification from helping people,
Right.
real estate or mortgages or title or all these parts of our industry are a way to make a pretty good living.
Yeah.
One of the things that Janae said in our conversations, he said, but you have to be able to handle the stress of it, because that is one thing. There is no perfect transaction. You're dealing with people's money. You're dealing with something that it could be volatile because of things so many parts and moving parts that if you want it to be a peace and calm and stressless existence and dealing with people at the same time, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. She's absolutely correct. I don't have one, but I think maybe I should get a therapist.
Yes.
And we do love helping people. And
Mhm.
one of the things that as a realtist with an Arab, we talk about this all the time, and you do as well, changing generational dynamics.
Yes.
And that's the part of helping people that we love and we enjoy. The therapy side is, people get into this because they heard about the agent. Like me, when I saw what the real estate agent made, I just saw the end game. I didn't see what was happening before. And I just recently closed a deal where we were working together for 5 months.
Yeah.
Now, who works for 5 months and wants to get paid? It's not every 2 weeks, unless you're closing every 2 weeks, but our income is a determinant factor of finding that home for someone.
Yeah.
And, I've worked with people for a year. And when you take the net result, that income, and divide it by 12 and 40, it does not meet minimum wage standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So psychologically, it's not depressing, but it is. You have to have some thick skin. I mean, I have a database of over 1,000 potential home buyers, and none of them are ready. But I
Hmm.
look at it this way: they're in the pipeline because if they're not ready until a year from now,
Hmm.
that year or 6 months or whatever it is turns into today.
Yes.
Today will eventually come, and the commitment to working with them and giving them hope that you can buy, that's our job. And
Yeah.
so I think we're therapists too.
Oh, yeah, you have to be. You have to be. And things just go up and down. You know, the example that you just made me think of is if this pin is the water, and you know we're ducks, and you see the real estate agent with my knuckles up here, it's just
Mhm.
smooth down here. But then here's what the real estate agent's doing underneath.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, they're moving a million miles an hour, being calm on the top, and then getting things done. But like you said, you have to have that you have to be willing to go through, you know, some of that stress,
yeah,
and know that you're not going to get a single paycheck maybe every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, unless you're able, like you said, you're closing 24 transactions, you know, in a year. To be able to do that, then it's some incredible money. So the potential is absolutely there. You know, I'm on the loan side, you're on the real estate side, and they both are ways to create, you know, a tremendous amount of income, but it's not by not working.
right.
You know, it's not by doing stuff. So, what would you say? Because I know you talked about you do stuff, you know, with the heroes. What is your favorite part of being a real estate agent? What is it that you love to do more than anything?
I, I, I've loved it from day one, but now the past 5 years working with Homes for Heroes. Prior to that, I think I'm going on year 8, but with 1 year missing with Toys for Tots.
Okay.
Uh, so I'm a Marine veteran, and Toys for Tots is something near and dear. And um, uh, so the philanthropic side of real estate, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I've always, I with Homes for Heroes, I've given back now over $100,000 in rebates to my clients. That's cash out of my pocket,
That's awesome.
and that goes to some people use it for their closing cost. Some people use it to buy furniture. I just talked to one of my most recent closings, and he said, "Thank you. You know, I got the check." Um, and he's painting the first room in the house.
Oh,
Um,
that's so cool.
so,
Yeah.
I want to be known, and I've said this before, and I'll keep singing from the mountaintop. I don't care to be known as the number one producing agent in the Denver metro area.
Mhm.
I don't care about being the number one producing agent in the state or the country. What I want to be known as is the agent that gave back.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
That's that's my pride and joy right there. I mean, I don't want to cry, but
I know, but no, that is so important,
yeah,
and you think about what we're able to do in communities, and that's what I love about some of my freedom of time. You know, tomorrow, or I guess yeah, it is Thursday. We're doing a
yeah,
food bank. I'm at the food bank with
okay,
you know, a whole group of folks, and we're going to spend the time on Thursday from, you know, 1 to 4 with. Yeah, I have that time to be able to do that. Where, you know, when I was working, you know, maybe some of the when I was a teacher, you know, I guess I was given that a little bit too. You know, I didn't have some of that freedom of time to be able to do some of those things. One of the things that I really, you know, and I want to thank you for your service and the things that you've done
thank
for
you.
our country. But I know the veterans and getting veterans into homes is a big deal, and it's a little bit different than, you know, what we typically, you know, see for the home buying process. And you know, and I think about all the vets that came home from like World War II, and some were offered, you know, these GI Bills and these grants that were allowed for people to get into homes, and for folks of colors that, you know, there wasn't very many of those grants that were available. What can you say is different about, or what we can do to help our vets be able to have this realization of home ownership and being able to own the homes. I mean, it's more than just you can have no money down or a dollar to get down. There's obviously way more that goes into that than to making sure that that's taken care of. What can you say about that?
Education, education, education. You're a teacher. Education, education, education. We have to get in front of them, and if we can't get in front of them right away, because we don't know who's a veteran
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just by looking at them, or getting it out to people who aren't veterans, because I can almost guarantee or promise, not guarantee, that every family has a veteran somewhere. And so
Oh, absolutely.
getting the information to them is key, and sitting down and having a conversation with them. I know the VA is good about getting the information out, but it's at that high level, and then we're boots on the ground, and so we're the vanguard. We have to
Mm-hmm.
get in front of them. So we have to find a mechanism: social media, emails, phone conversations, giving out business cards saying, "Hey, let's talk," doing veterans workshops and things like that. Um, to let them know about the benefits of a VA home loan. And if a VA home loan is not the most practical, there are other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
are other avenues for them. So I don't just limit it to just the VA home loan, but we just have to get in front of them and answer the questions that they have. But because we've been doing this for so long, we know the majority of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
know, I tell all of my first time home buyers, um, don't call me 30 days before it's time to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Call me a year from now. Well, I don't want my credit report pulled. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We're doing a roadmap for you. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you and I grew up in a time where you actually had a paper map, and
Mm-hmm.
you didn't get in the car without plotting your course.
Oh my gosh.
And,
We
and,
I was
and
talking about the other day. Yeah. Just.
yeah, so sit down with an agent and a lender and create a roadmap for success.
Yeah.
You know, success is meeting at the corner of preparation and
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. When the two of
Opportunity.
those meet, you're going to have success.
Yeah, Troy, you remember the times when you had to ask for directions and
Of
somebody would
course,
tell you,
yeah.
you go to this street, you take a right, you take a left, and you do this. Where have we gone wrong in this whole process here? Because we should be asking for directions on how to get a home, right? How to get other things. But we expect to be able to just get on these devices, and then all of a sudden the device tells us how to do it. Where something as big as a home or a purchase of a home, we expect it to just, we're in a society expected to just jump on us or something like that. And I was
Yeah,
talking to a veteran just not too long ago, and he was saying, saying, hey, you can get into a house. And he says, if it's anything like the veterans medical system, I don't want to be part of it. And I think there's that, this fear of, that this government bureaucracy kind of is in the way of you getting into a house. And I want people to
right,
know that's not it. That it
right.
isn't this barrier that they put in front of you trying to stop you. And I know for the medical side, it may seem that way because it's such a big bureaucracy. But on the home side, it really doesn't have to be, does it? I mean, what's
No,
the okay?
no, it's not. I mean, most good lenders will get that all of the documents that you need from the VA for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple process. You know, your certificate of eligibility. Um, Man, I had my certificate of eligibility a year after I got out of the military, and I didn't. I couldn't afford to buy a house, not
Mm-hmm.
even a condo back then, but I had it. I
Yeah.
got it, and I got it on my own. Um, and but things have changed because I think our tolerance for verbal instruction has gone away because, like you said, we can pick up this little baby here
Mm-hmm.
and we can Google it and try to get the answers. And sometimes Google is not always correct because Google is only going to tell you so much. You need a face to face with a lender who knows what he's doing, like you, uh, um, and how to get them in that home, and then finding the right realtor, like me,
There we go.
to
I love
find
it.
that, to
Yeah.
find their home.
Absolutely. And that's where I say that teams of us get together and we work on stuff. And let's kind of talk about generational wealth a little bit. And I think, when I see, I was talking to some, some older seasoned ladies the other day. And I can remember growing up, and maybe this is you, when we would talk about in our community, um, when we talked about, well, when I pass away, and then they would say something like, well, he ain't getting nothing. I ain't
Oh,
giving him not
man.
one thing.
I love
And
my Uncle Charles, y'all.
yeah, I'm not giving, but I don't think that was the intent. I think that
Right.
was the belief that I don't have it to give, because
Mm,
I don't think folks want to not give their,
mm,
their offspring some of what they have. But if you don't have anything, what else are you going to
interesting.
say? Right.
Interesting.
And so now we're in this portion where there's folks that have some stuff and they want to give it away. And what, just understanding, what a home can do, for that generational health and not generational wealth, and not just one home, maybe two homes or three homes, and start thinking about that. How do you help people as you're doing this whole buying process, whether it's the first home or the second home that they may be moving up to? How do you prepare them, for that process of thinking through that generational wealth piece?
Well, as a real estate agent, we take on many hats because
Mhm.
people will call us. They want to get pre-approved for a loan. I'm the real estate agent. I'm not the lender, but
Mhm.
I know enough about lending to be dangerous. But I'm smart enough to say you need to talk to a lender. I'll give them the basics of what I know. Like I just ran into a young man who um, was coming over to my client's house on the listing that I have to look at the fireplace. And I helped him take his gear to his truck. And he said to me, "You're in real estate. Can you find me a rental?" And I said, "Well, the best way to do that is to go on Zillow." Then we started talking, and I said, "Well, why do you want to rent?" And he told me his whole story. And this is a good real estate story.
Mhm.
So, you know, I asked him, "How much do you make right now?" And he said, about 70,000 a year. So I didn't have a mortgage calculator, but I took my little trusted phone. 70 divided by 12
Mhm.
comes to five something, and I minus 41%, and it came to 40 something. And I said, "What's your debt?" And he said, 1,000 child support, and 400 for the car. I said, "I'm going to do 1,500." It came out that he could afford 18 or 17,000 a month, 1,700 a month, excuse me. And I said, "Get a condo,
Mhm.
get a 2-bedroom condo, because you're going to pay 2,000. Get a condo, 2 bedroom."
Mhm.
And he was like, "Wow, I could do that." I said, "Absolutely. We just got to get you in front of someone." Now, he hasn't reached out to me, and I was going to reach out to him, but it's having those conversations,
Yeah.
so
It is. It's
uh,
having those over and over again, help
yeah,
people believe. And it's you folks that are watching this. You have, whether you own a home or you don't own a home, you have relatives, you have people. And one of the, I would say, even in our community, that people who haven't done it before don't know if it's possible, and they tell the other relatives it's not possible. You can't have a home. You don't make enough money, but they really don't know, right? Have you heard that
yeah,
before?
our worst Dr. Phil moment, and Dr. Phil, the therapist, and sitting on the Oprah sofa, or whoever you're turning to um, for advice. Our worst advice overwhelmingly comes from family members
It does.
who aren't in the business. I had a young lady who stopped me at another listing that I had in Montbello. We sold it, and I told her about the Deerfield Fund. She went home and she asked her niece about it, And her niece said, I never heard of it. It doesn't exist. Really? You know, and I said, what does she do? She's a bookkeeper. And I didn't attack her job,
Of course
but
not.
I just wanted to know. I was like, well, what profession? I said, ma'am, here's the link. Please look into it.
Yeah.
But and then, you know, we get the folks who are telling their family members in 2021 and 2022, wait, the market's going to crash. I haven't seen the wheels fall off the vehicle yet.
No.
What I've seen is, well, obviously interest rates went up crazy, which Chairman Powell lost his mind. I should have did that a little sooner, incrementally. But what I was telling people in 2022 at the early part, because this question has been going, I said prices are going to stabilize.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to stay. They're going to stabilize. They're high, but you're not going to see a market crash, and you're not going to see home prices dipping as fast as they went up. When home prices go up, they stay up. I mean, our crash in 2008, 2009, what did it do? It went up.
It did.
And double. So, you know, this notion that, and I'm not an economist, I'm not an award-winning economist, but I know enough that I've seen that the interest rates are, I say the interest rates today are where they should be. Unfortunately, you know, 2 and 3%. That was that girlfriend you had years ago, or that boyfriend you had years ago, and you think about them, and maybe it could have worked, but it didn't. Right? You weren't ready. You weren't ready for that. Now you got your husband or your wife today. You love her to death. You better start loving these interest rates.
Absolutely. Well, it was the clearance sale, right? Because you go, the interest rates are high compared to what? Compared to how it's been over the last 50 years, or compared to what it was the last 4 years?
Right.
They can't stay there. It doesn't work for our economy to flourish to have interest rates that are that low. Because it just doesn't work when people have jobs and stuff. That then we get this thing called inflation that says now we're only paying 2% for our houses, but we're paying 1,000,000% for everything else that we want in life and everything else that we want to get. You know, and just even what you said, you know, I was talking to an economist the other day, and he's like, for a lot of folks in America that are consumers, that they have credit card debt, and so you say, I want to refinance you at maybe a 7%. And you say, no, I want to keep my 3%, but then they're paying 21% on credit cards. And if they were to average those out and pay off those credit cards with the 7%, you know, because right now, if you add those credit cards in there, they're paying 9-10% for all of their debt. And so it's just a matter of, like you said, talking to the right people.
Right.
And what's so sad is, like on your Deerfield story, you know, all that person had to do, instead of telling their relative that it doesn't exist, pick up this device, type in Deerfield for Blackwell, boom, all the stuff comes up. You know, it shows exactly what you got to do to qualify. But instead, right, we know everything, so we're going to say, oh, that doesn't exist, and you wouldn't qualify for it anyways.
Right.
Never even heard of it, right? A bookkeeper, and they think, well, if it exists, I should have heard of it.
Right.
But no, I mean, you're not trying to buy a house right now, which I've made it like my mission in life to make sure that if I don't know, I don't give advice. And if we would all take that to heed, if you don't know, then find somebody who does, you know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. You know, Troy, what are some of the things that separate you from other folks? Like, you know, there are real estate agents. You know, I think if you look at the DMAR or whatever, there's like 10,000 real estate agents in the Denver metro area that are just part of DMAR, and then probably another 6 or 7 in part of SMEDRA. And these are acronyms for real estate association groups. What differentiates you from some of these other real estate agents?
Well, most of us are knowledgeable. Most of us care. Most of us are hardworking. So um, I'm lumped into that category. Um, I know and believe that I'm I'm caring, extremely caring. I mean, the hand holding process, and what made me realize, apart from all of my charitable, I don't want to call them deeds, but the things that I want to do apart from real estate, is that um, I think you've made it when people who are under contract with another agent call you for advice.
Yes, yes.
it it used to burn me up, um, and so now I'm just trying to figure out how to leverage that into um, uh, more success with those folks. I mean, somebody else's client ends up turning into my client. Well, I can't help them with that existing transaction, but going forward, I can. Um, and when I say I care, every agent that you know, and you've heard this conversation, they use somebody else, and I'm cutting them off.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. I was there. I
Mm-hmm.
was there, and I had a client, a couple whose father had recommended them. I helped him, and they closed on their home February 28th. And I've been working with them for a year, and then they stopped reaching out, but I was still contact management. And when I saw that they closed, and they're the sweetest couple, all I could do was go on their page and say, congratulations. Congratulations, you guys finally did it. Because if we really care and love real estate, we're going to celebrate everyone who buys,
Everyone.
not just our clients. So, lift them up, salute them, praise them. And I'm going to tell you what it does. It removes that frustration from you.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't felt frustrated when I see someone else. It hasn't happened. Somebody else used another agent, but I turned that page February 28th, so it's documented now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's what separates me, in that I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm going to answer your questions if I legally and ethically can. Um, and then too, I've had people who are under a buyer agency with someone, and they'll call me and say, "Hey, my agent's not doing the job. I can't find a house," and I will tell them. And this was at the height of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your agent's fault.
No.
There's nothing out there. Give them an opportunity, and if they do something that contractually that you're not happy with, then let's talk. But it's not your agent's fault, because if she can't find you a house, what makes you think I can?
Yeah.
Unless I have a listing.
Exactly.
So,
Well, and that's that, Troy, that's that abundance mindset that I think separates the good from the great. Is they're thinking long term, I need to help folks because we enjoy helping folks, and it's not about every transaction that goes through. I know for me, like I'm doing this podcast, and I have all these different lenders that come onto my podcast that talk about programs that they have,
wow.
whether it's the bank or whoever. If I was short-term thinking and thought that there wasn't enough people out there that I could do loans from, I would never have another lender on my podcast because I need all this business. But what it turns into is I need you because we need to help the community. We need to help people get into homes. And there's enough out there for all of us. And even today, I got a call from another reverse mortgage company saying, I need to do a loan that we can't do. Can you do it? And so
Yeah.
that's the mindset that you and I both go into is we're here because we know folks need to get there. And our God that we serve and the people that were there are going to take care of giving us the people that we need to, as long as we're continuing to be out there helping folks get into homes. And I know that's
Yeah.
how you believe. It's how I believe. When I think about generational wealth transfer, I can't do that by myself. If
Right.
we're going to transfer a lot of wealth from one generation to the next, it's going to take an abundance of us to being able to do this.
Yeah. You know, you said something, God, you brought God into it. And I appreciate that. I mean, my prayer after, 2012, my battle with cancer, my mother's battle with cancer, um, going through a difficult time. And I continue to pray and say, not this exactly, but, God, give me what I need, not my wants.
Yeah.
And so I have to keep that in check because we want so
Mhm.
much. But I know I serve a God that will give me and supply all of my needs. And then I will be mentally, physically, and healthy all the same. So I don't need the $2 million estate in Greenwood Village. Um, I don't need the Rolls Royce, because my SUV gets me to where I need to be.
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know,
I
but
agree.
and then also, um, if we help enough people get what they want, you will eventually get what you need.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
And what you want.
and what you want.
And
I strike the want out. My wife won't let me get everything I want, so
yeah, there we go. There we go.
I still got to go home. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I hear you. It is just, like what I say is I need to be a blessing to
right,
others. If
right,
I can do that and get up every single morning, then let God take care of the rest, and it's all going to fall into place. And I need to work hard on a daily basis on achieving that, and everything takes care of itself. So,
yeah, be a blessing.
yeah.
You mentioned the food bank, and that's something, man, I've been wanting to do. So we have to connect on that. Um,
Okay.
my executive assistant is sitting next to me, and I put something on the calendar for next month, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're just all over the place." And I have to recognize that I can't spread myself too thin,
Hmm.
but because I'm always looking for an opportunity to give back to someone or something
Hmm.
that will benefit so many others.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. Well, Troy, we are down to our time. I'm going to ask you that we come back in 6 or so months that we can do this again. It has been such a treat to have you on this podcast, and I hope that folks will be able to listen to it. They'll see your heart. They'll send you. They'll give you business. They will come to you for business. Because if I was doing a real estate transaction, you would be somebody I'd want in my corner. Can you please tell everybody again how to get a hold of you? Because I want to make sure that they don't have to rewind the video to be able
Sure.
to get there.
Well, before I get off, if I have time, I just want to say thank you
Hmm.
for having me on. Um, and thank you for putting it out there for everyone at NARAB. And
Hmm.
I love the energy of you being a lender and not afraid to have a lender on your
Hmm.
podcast. That's just amazing. That's living in abundance. And I think I mean, you've just shown me that even as a real estate agent, if I decide to do a podcast, I should do the same thing because there are closings happening every day. The
Hmm.
question is, will you be at the table? And ultimately, you can't do all the closings.
No, you can't.
So thank you for your knowledge, expertise. Thank you for helping our now mutual client. Won't
Hmm.
say the name, for the reverse mortgage, and even talking to uh, her and others about a trust.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
in case you guys didn't know, Mr. Brian Arnold is the trust man.
You live
He
in
can
trust.
get a family trust set up for you guys. And a trust is something needed because too many times I get a lot of phone calls. I have them recently. I want to do a quick claim deed and put my name on my mama's house.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Yeah.
Say it again. Say it again.
Mm-mm.
Say it for the folks in the back. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about a quick claim deed, don't call me and ask me. Call me and ask me, how do you get a trust? And I'll
Yes.
make sure you get with Mr. Arnold and get a trust, which will save you. thousands of dollars, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars down the road.
Absolutely.
So now, again, 720-363-6363. That's my direct cell. Email realestategettroy@gmail.com. realestategettroy@gmail.com. Or www.troywilliamsrealtor.com or www.realtorhelpingheroes.com. I look forward to working with you. If you are in law enforcement, past or present, military, active, retired, or veteran, teacher, hospital, medical professional, or what did I miss? I said law enforcement, military, teacher, EMS. Okay, so, and if you are in the support staff, so if you are the janitor in any of these buildings, call me because you deserve a home as well. And I will extend that 25% rebate from my commission. I love even numbers. So if I got $10,000, you get back $2,500. I'll let you extrapolate on this one. I had a client, we just closed. He got back over $5,300 in an email with an e-check that he deposited. And so I say this jokingly. My wife hates the program because that's $5,000 she could have had. but she supports me 100% in my madness of giving away money. My goal is to beat that man down in Colorado Springs.
All right.
That's what I want to do before I leave this earth. So you all have to help me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Troy, just thank you again for being on. Like I always say, you can do this. You deserve this, and let us help you. Please let us help you get through there. And so, Troy, it's been a pleasure having you on today. Can't wait for us to talk some more, get back on. And so you just experienced another edition of the Black Wealth Experience podcast, as well as the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight. Thank you again. We'll see you on the next one. This is Brian Arnold, and if you are listening to this part, you've just watched one of our episodes of the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight, where we've just talked to one of the best of the best. And I want to thank whichever guest that was here. They are phenomenal. They are amazing. They are the top of the top, the best of the best that are in our industry that are here with us today. And so I encourage you to please call them, pick their brains. They work for you. They enjoy working for you. They are incredibly good at it. And so I want to make sure that you give them a call. So whoever you listen to, whichever one you saw that you were there, please do that. The other thing is everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves a home. I say that at the end of my show. You deserve it. Let us help you do it. My goal is to make sure that we see homeownership. It just sickens me to see apartment complexes continue to go up, because I know those are people who haven't been able to make the call or figure out a plan. So let us help put that plan together for you. I have some websites that allow you to do that, and I'll put those in the bottom, but please do. I am a lender. I do work in the lending space. If you do not already have somebody who's pre-qualified you, I would love to be able to have that opportunity to earn your business and qualify you. My number is 720-682-2223. That's 720-682-2223. Give me a call anytime, and I would love to be able to help you with that. We also do living trust. And so when we think about an estate, to try to avoid probate and make sure that doesn't happen. So whether it's you, if you own a home, and you should have a living trust. And I will say that everyone not just deserves it, everyone needs a living trust if they own a home. And then finally, just wanted to thank you for watching these episodes. And so please tune into more. Would love for you to see and be able to shop around. So thank you for doing that. Again, I want to make sure that you know that you can do this. You deserve this. And let us help you make it happen. You guys have an awesome, wonderful, awestruck, incredible day today.